I'm proud to say on Money Talks, we've been chronicling a slowdown in the real estate market for the last 4 months. We got those August numbers thanks to Ozzie. They were obviously like falling off a cliff, but again, it was the summer. So we said from that point on, we've got to see what's going on in September. We're doing that as we speak. Ozzie Jurek has got the preliminary numbers for us. Ozzie, let's start with the overall sales.
Well, you're quite right. You know, we were sort of saying, okay, there was a foreign tax, but August was August, there was summer and so on, but September, October would tell the story. Well, if that's the story, it looks like just on a first look, and that the numbers are going to change over the weekend, so don't hold me to the exact numbers, but it looks like we're going to be down between 45 to 50% in sales. And the biggest hit is the detached sector. I think on the detached alone, it looks like we sold about 480 units. Last year we sold close to 1,300. So that's a 65% decline. And when you look down on the condo sector, it's not nearly as bad. We're only down about 33%. Townhouses were down 50%. That's overall. But Mike, if you go to the west side, the detached home sector is now down to 38 sales in September versus 137 last year. And the condo sector was 237 this month. Last year was 453. And townhouses, again, 50% lower. And whether it's the east side, single-family homes down 65%, or Richmond down 68%, or Coquitlam, the biggest hit is the single-family home. Now, we always talk about the foreign investors, but this affects us locally, too. Look, 800, no moves, about 800 single-family home people didn't move, right? So the moving van industry is affected. Maybe new furniture 800 times not 800 new mortgages, and not 800 property transfer taxes either for the government. And that's just in the single-family home sector. Overall, looks like we're down about 1,400 sales over last September. So it would have an impact on everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come back to that in a sec, but it comes at the same week that we got, Credit Suisse was calling us the most bubble city in the world when it came to our real estate prices?
Yeah, and they make the point that we're unmatched on the planet. So they have an index. It's UBS Global Real Estate Bubble Index, and we are number one in the world. He says we used to be in the top 10, but now we're number one. And they're saying essentially investors are less likely to see growth in property values in high bubble risk cities, and particularly ours. We scored the lowest, which makes us to be lowest in terms of all the factors that make up the index. That's why we're the number one city to be avoided from an investor point of view.
Let's come back then to the numbers that you just gave us. As you said, they are preliminary, but they're certainly giving us a very strong trend. The trend isn't going to change, and the ripple effect can be significant. I had said right at the outset when they did the foreign buyers tax, which I appreciate was a political gesture to all the outcry about foreign buyers and rising real estate prices, all of that kind of stuff. And but I said we better be careful what we wish for here, because we're talking in 7 of 10 provinces in the country, real estate's the strongest industry. Obviously, that's the case, led by British Columbia. So, this has significance. The sort of growth that British Columbia had been enjoying can ripple right through the rest of the country if we start getting a slowdown there.
Well, there's no question, and particularly since most of the increases is really Toronto and Vancouver. I mean, in our newsletter this week, we're recommending people look at Kamloops. I mean, Kamloops wasn't affected at all. The average price is $419,000. The BC average is $560,000. So there's a good upside there. But now when we have this negative feeling, and maybe a lot of the downturn, Mike, is still psychological, where people saying, you know what, I'm going to wait this out. And we still hear about multiple offers and Mission, for instance. So it's not, a market, but the numbers quite clearly have had an effect, and if that continues in October and November, then we're going to back off even more. That's the kind of trend we have. We always buy at the very top, and when you actually should be maybe looking around, you're too scared, we stay on the sidelines.
Well, we'll be here to chronicle it. Thank you so much, Ozzie. Appreciate you doing the work to get those numbers first hot off the press for us. Ozzie Jurek, of course, is here every week. And he, by the way, he had a tremendous response to his ebook, Real Estate 2.0, on Amazon. If you were one of the people who downloaded the book, hey, do me a favor, read the book, send in a review to Amazon. That would be great. You can find more on Ozzie at Jurek.com.